You're watching True Crime Archives, real mysteries in just minutes. Let's dive into the case. A killer who lived with his victims. Footprints leading to the house, but none leading away. Who murdered the Gruber family on that snowy Bavarian night in 1922? Was it a jealous lover, a drifter, or something much darker? These are the most chilling theories behind the Hinterkaifeck murders. By the time investigators reached the farmhouse, 6 people were dead, and the killer was gone, leaving only footprints, hay-covered bodies, and silence. No one was ever charged, but over the last century, 5 major theories have emerged, each more unsettling than the last. The most talked about suspect was Lorenz Schlittenbauer, the neighbor who helped discover the bodies. Years earlier, Lorenz had been romantically involved with Victoria Gruber, the family's daughter. Some even believed he was the father of her 2-year-old son, Josef. Lorenz had publicly quarreled with Andreas Gruber, Victoria's father, over money, inheritance, and rumors that Andreas was still intimate with his own daughter. When Lorenz found the bodies, witnesses said he acted strangely calm. He unlocked doors that no one knew how to open, walked through the rooms as if he'd been there before, and even handled the corpses. Police wondered, was he revisiting his crime scene? But no blood was found on his clothes, and his alibi checked out. Still, in minds of locals, he was guilty forever. Andreas Gruber's stories about noises above the ceiling weren't imagination. When police searched the attic, they found straw bedding, old food, and footprints, signs that someone had been living there before the murders. Imagine this: someone hiding for days, watching the family through cracks in the floorboards, learning their routines, waiting. Perhaps it was a vagrant traveling through the forest. Perhaps a former soldier from World War I, broken by trauma and poverty. Germany in the 1920s was full of displaced men who'd seen horrors beyond words. Could one of them have found shelter at Hinterkaifeck and then snapped? This theory explains the noises, the missing keys, and the knowledge of the house layout. But it doesn't explain why the killer stayed after the murders, or why he covered the bodies with care. Perhaps the darkest theory is that the motive came from within the family. Neighbors long suspected that Andreas Gruber had an abusive relationship with his daughter Victoria. Court records show both had previously been convicted for incest, an open secret in the village. Some say Victoria wanted to end it, to leave and start a new life with Lorenz Schlittenbauer. Her father refused, threatening to expose her and take the children. Could Victoria or someone close to her have reached a breaking point? One version claims Lorenz confronted Andreas, an argument turned violent, and in the chaos, everyone was killed. Another says Andreas himself may have killed his family before taking his own life, though his body position made suicide impossible. This theory fits the family's secrecy, but not the signs of someone living in the house afterwards. Early investigators considered robbery, but nothing valuable was taken, not money, jewelry, or livestock. If it was a thief, he was the strangest thief in history. He stayed, tended the animals, and cooked meals. However, some believed there were 2 killers, one who acted out of greed, another who lost control. When the murders escalated, they panicked and hid on the farm, too scared to flee through the snow. Yet even then, how did no one see their footprints leaving? In the 1920s, several axe murders took place across Europe, eerily similar to Hinterkaifeck. Police considered the possibility of a traveling killer. One suspect, Paul Mueller, had fled the U.S. years earlier after committing almost identical murders. Entire families slain with a blunt farm tool, bodies stacked, homes undisturbed. His crimes in America ended just as the Hinterkaifeck case began. Could he have crossed the Atlantic, continuing his pattern in Germany? There's no direct evidence, but the similarities are haunting. The weapon, the timing, and the methodical calm afterwards. If true, Hinterkaifeck wasn't an isolated tragedy. It was part of a larger nightmare stretching across continents. Even after a century, certain details refuse to make sense. The family dog barked violently the night before, but was calm the next day. Food had been eaten in the kitchen after the murders. The clock in the house stopped at 2:30 a.m., likely when the killer struck. And the youngest child's hair was torn out, suggesting she lived long enough to see what happened. Each clue adds another layer to a story already too dark to fully believe. In nearby towns, people whispered that Hinterkaifeck was cursed, that the noises in the attic weren't human, that the ghost of the previous maid who'd fled in fear returned to cleanse the farm. Of course, there's no proof, but some locals still refuse to walk near the site at night. They say you can hear the sound of a mattock hitting wood, followed by footsteps in the hay. Whether real or imagined, the legend keeps the victim's memory alive, a haunting that never ends. In 2007, German police reopened the case using digital analysis and DNA technology. They built new profiles based on old evidence and named a suspect. But out of respect for his surviving family, they never revealed his name publicly. The case remains officially unsolved. The land where the farmhouse used to stand is empty now, just grass and silence. A small memorial cross marks where the barn used to be. Visitors say that standing there, you can feel the wind change, like the forest itself remembers. 6 lives, one killer who vanished without a trace. Was it jealousy, madness, or a stranger who watched from the attic, waiting for the storm to come? Tell us what you believe happened that night. And if you think you've heard the last of Hinterkaifeck, look again at those footprints in the snow, because some mysteries don't end, they just freeze in time.